Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our really big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are on pre-order for this weekend. So make sure you get your pre-orders in by Sunday around 6 o'clock over at infinityflux.net. We would really appreciate it. It helps us know what to order, how much to order, and make sure that you get what you want. And this is a huge week. I had to trim it back, so there's still even more things that are coming out that I'm not going to be able to talk about, but it will all be over at infinityflux.net, so you can see the full gamut of things.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great DC stuff on this show, and we told you guys early in the year, DC is just, kind of had a quiet first half of the year, and it was going to be a huge wave of stuff second half of the year, and this is it. We are in the thick of it right now, so there's some awesome stuff.
So let's get into it, starting with a really big one in our featured comics.
Absolute Wonder Woman #1. This is the second in the new Absolute universe, and Andy and I got to read this today, and it is awesome. I absolutely love it. Written by Kelly Thompson. The art is by Hayden Sherman. This is a very different Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was raised in hell, and she was. So in this book, we get a little bit of a back and forth between her trying to fend off this big, was it a demon?
Yeah, it's kind of a big demon monster
thing. And it serves as a way to show us just who this Wonder Woman is, how she operates, how she fights, the big sword.
Yeah.
And there is another weapon that she uses too. I won't tell you what it is, but it's very, very cool. And so we go back and forth between that and then showing where she came from. From being a baby to growing up in hell. This Wonder Woman is a magic user. But I don't know if it's like just it's some kind of, it looks, the font makes it look like some kind of dark magic. I don't know if it's quite that or not, but and so we get a nice introduction to kind of sort of her origin, but also some great action too. We do see her on this skeleton Pegasus right here. This is just really, really good.
It does help her in combat too.
Yes, it does.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what the overall story of this first arc is quite going to be. This is a part 1 of 5. So, I'm not really sure where the story is going to go. Like I said, this is more of an introduction of just like how she fights and where she came from and that kind of thing. But I can't wait to see where it goes because, I was blown away with this. We got to read Absolute Batman a few weeks ago. Loved that one. This issue is awesome too. So, I
would say maybe differs even more from the original character than the Batman one did.
Yeah.
It had its changes, but this feels like Wonder Woman by way of like a Vertigo comic or an Image comic. It could definitely fit in a way more indie setting.
I had that same thought. If you took the name Wonder Woman off of it, like, and just had no trade dress and just said, "Here, read this," maybe the name Diana wasn't in there, you would think, "Oh, this is a cool new Image book from some indie creator or something." Like, it has that feel, and that's a compliment, like, because there's a lot of great books like that out there, but this just happens to be Wonder Woman, and it's phenomenal. I absolutely love this. This new Absolute Universe is now 2 for 2 on great books, and I cannot wait for everybody to read it.
And you don't want to miss out on this because Absolute Batman already sold out at the distributor level. So these are going to be big, and you don't want to miss out on being right there on the ground level as these get started.
Yeah, so I can't say enough good things about it. I could spend the whole show talking about it, but this is our A cover right here. We have a Wes Craig variant. There is a Jim Lee variant, which looks really good. There is a Jeff DeCall variant. A logo design foil. This is going to be a foil cover. There is a blank sketch variant and another Jim Lee. This is a foil one as well. I might have to get that one because that's super cool.
Yeah, very cool. Very different.
The cover shows something that.
There's a lot of. I would say where Batman, there was a lot of like surprises. This whole thing is kind of like a surprise, discovering it as it goes. Because you may think, even from the description, what it's going to look like and be about. And it's very different than that.
Yeah. And I will say, obviously no spoilers, but when I saw the last page, and it was one of those things where It was so cool. I like put the book down. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Like
Yeah.
it had that it gave me that kind of reaction that last page. So phenomenal book.
Yeah, so don't miss out.
Hmm.
Absolute Wonder Woman #1. Continue on. We've got Psylocke #1. This is going to be a new series from the Ashes era of X-Men at Marvel. And this sounds really cool. This is by Alyssa Wong, and the art is by Vincenzo Caratu, who was your artist from the Blood Hunt Dracula series, which I really liked. I thought the art in that was one of the things that like made it stand
Yeah,
out from the other
yeah,
Blood Hunt titles. And this sounds really cool. Psylocke's been through a lot from, her being combined with Betsy Braddock, all of that, but she is back in her own body, being her own ninja self. And in this, she's trained to be assassin. She chose to be an X-Men, but some jobs are too dirty even to be associated with the X-Men. And it seems like she's going to do something bad enough that gets her X-Men membership card revoked. She takes something a little too far.
which is interesting because that whole synopsis sounds like maybe like Rick Remender's X Force, like a
Yeah.
Black Ops team, and they didn't have their memberships
Yeah.
revoked. So she must have done something even worse. Maybe she struck out on her own and wasn't supposed to or something.
Yeah, and in this very fragile time for mutants,
Right.
she could have done something that upsets that. But she still has to be a hero. But can she still be a hero after she's maybe gone too far? It sounds like this is going to be a very action focused book. The ninjas, it almost looks like the Hand is
Yeah.
in it, with the red ninja suits. Cyclops in there is probably going to be the one who tells her,
You're out of here.
yeah, give me your badge and your gun. You'll never work in this
Right.
town again. But I think this is awesome. I love Psylocke, and I think this is another great addition to these kind of solo character books they've been doing, like Phoenix and others. So we've got our A cover here. We have a beautiful art germ cover with more of her classic 90s look. We've got a hibachi variant, which is really cool. That's not the uh Marvel versus Capcom variant, but I know they're doing
No.
those coming
Right.
up. But this kind of
This
gives
isn't
me
that
some of the
bad.
feel of that. We also have a logo variant. We have a Yagawa pink foil variant, and we have a Nguyen variant. All very cool
Yeah.
for Psylocke.
Next up is Green Lantern Dark #1. This is going to be a 7-issue series. Our next DC Elseworlds book. This is written by Tate Bromble, and the art is by Werther Deladera, who's your artist on Something Is Killing the Children. So you know what kind of look and feel it's going to have. This is set on a post-apocalyptic Earth where the battle of good and evil has long since finished, and evil won. Darkness prevails while humanity struggles to survive in the corrupted wastelands. But there is rumor that there is one hero left who could return light into this dark black world, and that is the Green Lantern. However, she has been missing for years, while Solomon Grundy, who you see at the bottom of the cover there, he has been amassing an undead army that grows more powerful every night. So, where is Green Lantern? Will she be able to stop this army? This sounds really cool. I don't know who, like, if it's going to be a new character or if it's something like, oh, that's Jessica Cruz or something. I'm not
Yeah.
sure I'm not sure who's under the hood there, but this should be a cool new Green
And it's an
Lantern book.
Elseworld tale, so you don't need to really know anything going
Yeah,
into
yeah, it's
it.
its own thing. So that's our A cover. We have an Omer variant. Well, yeah, that's she doesn't really look like anybody that
No,
we
but
know
one
so
of the
far.
variants she does kind of look
Yeah.
like Jessica Cruz.
There's a David Nakayama, that one.
That one is a little bit
Yeah.
more, but she's got more black hair there.
Huh. And then there's the foil variant of the Omer version.
Very interesting. I like the lantern on the pole.
Yeah, that's
I
really
think that's
cool.
a really cool.
Yeah.
Almost reminds me a little bit of like Kingdom Come or
Yeah. Mhm.
something like that. Next up, we got DC Horror Presents #1. So you may have seen the DC Horror Presents title before a lot of things like Soul Plumber or the upcoming Creature Commandos, all of that. But this is going to be its own anthology style book. We believe it's 4 issues. Some places say 3, some places say 4.
Yeah.
But the cover says 4, so I've got to think that that's the final cover and it's going to be 4.
I hope it's 4.
Yeah.
Because this sounds really cool.
So, we've got a lot of anthology style horror books, some fantastic ones, Creepshow, all of those, Hello Darkness. But this one is one of those, but set within the DC universe. You can see on the cover with Superman. This is going to be those anthology style stories, but with characters you know. So each issue, it sounds like it's got 2 to 3 stories in it. Hard to tell. It may fluctuate depending. But this first one, we've got a story from the Boulet brothers, who are the hosts of Dragula. We have David Dasmalchian, who is Polka Dot Man himself, has been working in comics a lot, along with Leah Kirkpatrick. And there's not a whole lot of information about the stories that are going to be in it. But, you know, with the DC horror stuff, they can go all out, especially given this cover. It's very like Hellraiser almost.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be really, really cool. You don't want to miss out on this.
Like, what can do that to Superman? I'm not saying that this is one of the stories. It
Yeah.
might not be, but I want to know that story right there. What can do that to Superman?
Yeah. Each of the covers for these issues has something like, I think the second one has Batman on it,
Yeah.
but there's like a bat climbing out of his
Yeah,
mouth.
so
It's
cool.
just really, really creepy.
I wish this were weekly all through October.
That'd be
That would be
great.
so cool.
But we've got our A cover right here. That's the Tyler Crook variant. We've got the Francesco Francavilla variant, which is really cool. I love that. And we've got a Dave Johnson variant.
Next up is Nullhunter #1. This is the first of a 12-issue series from Image, written by Michael Walsh, who I think of every time I hear Michael Walsh. I think of Silver Coin, another horror anthology book that I love so much. The art is by Gustavo Vargas. This is described as a kinetic cyberpunk retelling of the labors of Hercules, which is that's already a lot, but it sounds awesome. So it's about this guy on the cover here. He's a war hero named Clay. He returns home.
Hercules.
What?
Hercules.
Hercules. Yeah, Hercules. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's probably
That's probably where they pulled it out.
But he returns home only to face unspeakable tragedy. So he's going to set out to seek justice from whatever this tragedy is. I'm thinking maybe somebody was killed. I guess I don't know the story of Hercules well enough.
Usually it's he comes back and he murders his own family because he's in a rage.
Oh.
And he has to like atone for it.
Okay, well maybe that happens. Well, maybe because he says he's going to seek justice. He's going to be forced to serve his estranged father's powerful company called Olympos. But the last O is a 0 because it's cyberpunk, right?
Yeah, because you got to put numbers in all your
words. Right. And it says that his first mission takes him to faraway Nemea. Yeah. Okay.
Because you got the line there. It's the Nemean lion, which is one of his labors. He had to slay the Nemean lion.
See, I don't know that, so you should have done this one because it does say he's on the trail of a hijacked shipment of war lions. I guess that's that. Yeah, but Nemea, it's N3M-3A.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know the story well enough, but yeah, it sounds really cool. Cyberpunk Hercules.
I love the take a mythology thing and then put it in the future or change around or soup up the characters. That's always a fun thing because it's very classic archetypes.
Right.
But just with a new dressing on them.
Yeah, because that's where our heroes came from. Yeah. It was mythology, right? So this is our A cover. We have a Gustavo Vargas variant, and then there is a Christian Ward variant.
It's very Alien or something. That's cool. Okay, next up we've got Hack/Body Bags #1. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries. And if you know Body Bags, this was a series back from 1996 by Jason Pearson, who I believe passed away in 2022. But this was, people were talking about how controversial some of the 90s books were. Yeah. This could have been the top of that. But it's also a lot of fun. It's high action about this assassin, the dad, who's known as Clownface, and his daughter, Panda, and they're called body baggers, and it seems like it's just a normal profession in this world. They're killers and all that, but they're the police know that they do this and it's okay. Well, Tim Seeley and Steve Kurth are bringing these characters back to cross over with the Hack/Slash characters of Cassie and Vlad in a really cool way. So in this, Cassie and Vlad head to Georgia, which is where the city where the Body Bags characters are kind of centralized. I forgot what it's called, but it was the original name of Atlanta before it got called Atlanta.
Hotlanta.
Yeah, the Hotlanta, I believe, is the correct name. It's a Latin. But they head there, and they're instantly up against bounty hunters, because like I said, in this world, there's bounty hunters and assassins everywhere. And so they're going to have to deal with that. Meanwhile, Panda heads to private school for assassins and gets trapped there, and it's probably going to need the help of Cassie and Vlad and her dad to help break her out of whatever situation she's found herself in. but I've got to see some sample pages of this. It's just as over the top and crazy as the original because that's Tim Seeley's style as well. I can't wait for this. I read the first volume, the 4 issues of Body Bags last night and this morning to like get caught up
Yeah.
on these characters. I think this sounds like a blast.
And I love that there's so many just individual stories of hack slash teaming up with
Yeah,
whoever.
Vampirella
Yeah,
and just tons of
it's so much
characters.
fun.
Evil Ernie.
Hmm.
But then we've got our A cover right here, and we also have a Robertson variant as well.
This is the Sacred Damned #1. Now, this is the next book in the Horizon Experiment series of books, and each of one of those books, there's going to be 5 one-shots in this line of books. Its goal is to create a new character from a marginalized community and put them in a more popular genre. So the last one we had that came out this week was called The Manchurian, and that was a sort of kind of Chinese James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
This one features what is described as a Muslim John Constantine named Anaya Jibril. They say it's a new type of exorcist that's going to re-examine modern horror. This is written by Sabir Pirzada, and the art is by Michael Walsh. So he's writing Nullhunter and then drawing this. So yeah, I don't know a whole lot about what else the story is going to be. This is just a one shot, but after reading The Manchurian, that was a one and done as well, but it was left open. Like it had a nice bow at the end of it, but it also I could see it going further. So I'm sure this one will be the same. So there's going to be 3 more of these Horizon Experiment books after this one, but this one sounds really cool too. So if you're a fan of Constantine, magic, supernatural kind of stuff, maybe give this one a shot. So this is our A cover by Michael Walsh, and there's a Tula Lotay connecting variant.
So that connects with that.
With the other one, yeah.
Each of these is going to connect with this variant. There's a bug.
Hmm.
Next up, we've got Hexiles #1. This is going to be a 6-issue miniseries from Mad Cave, which are now cranking out some really great books. This is by Cullen Bunn, and the art is by Joe Boccardo. And in this, we've got our character centralized there under the ground in the grave named Jameson Creel. He has died, and he had 6 children from 6 different mothers arrive at the funeral, and they didn't know each other existed, but this kind of reveals everything to them. And also, each of these children have a power, but it seems kind of like a dark power because their father made a bargain, and it sounds like a pretty dark bargain that now that he's dead, the children basically have to pay the price for.
Yeah.
And it says basically hell is coming to collect. So they're going to have to work together even though they don't know each other, they don't like each other, and they definitely didn't like their absentee father.
Yeah.
But it's going to bring them all together. This is awesome. Cullen Bunn doing another horror book is always a good time. So we've got our A cover right here. And I really like this one. This is the Tyler Crook variant.
That's very
Lovecraftian.
yeah, Cthulhu. This is The Feeding. This is a one-shot. This is written by David M. Boer, and the artist by Drew Zucker. It's about a guy named Nolan Ward who has done everything to forget his disturbing past. He has turned to alcohol. He has turned to drugs. He's even turned to day trading. But nothing works because his past has still caught up with him in the form of this painting. I guess that's the painting, right?
Yeah.
The painting is called The Feeding, and this painting eats people.
Yeah.
And I don't really quite know.
Like all paintings, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's why I don't go to museums. You can't trust them. They're just on the wall looking at you.
Yeah.
You know, Mona Lisa's always licking her lips.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can't. I don't really know what it's going to look like, but it sounds cool. And it says the painting is hungry. Can Nolan stop this demon, or will he be devoured like so many others before him? So this painting has definitely claimed victims in the past. So it sounds really cool. It's a one shot, and this is the only cover.
Well, next up, we have Superman, issue 19. We're going to be talking about a lot of the DC All-In books. And we're kicking off with Superman. So this is going to be, like it's been, by Joshua Williamson. But joining him is art by Dan Mora, which I'm very excited about. And like with all DC All-In stuff, this is going to be a great jumping on point and invitation to join Superman if you haven't been so far. But this one's going to be big. So the story is going to be the many deaths of Doomsday. And somehow Doomsday returns, and it's going to be up to Superman and Superwoman. Yes,
What?
Lois Lane is going to, from the events of Absolute Power, maybe we'll find out a little bit more about that next week when Absolute Power #4 comes out. She is going to have Superman powers, or, similar to that.
Yeah,
We don't know exactly what her powers are, but it looks very Superman-like. And they will have to face Doomsday together. But we know from the retailer call we did with Mark Waid and Joshua Williamson and all of them talking about all the DC All In stuff, that the Doomsday we're getting in here, yes, it is the Doomsday from all along, but every time Doomsday dies, he comes back and he is adapted to the previous thing that killed him. And the last time we saw Doomsday was in Hell. So you can, figure out he had to go through some stuff, and he's going to come out the other side looking real tough.
Yeah, and they have released a couple of preview pages of this already online. A nice double-page spread of Superman and Superwoman, or Lois together, and then another double-page spread of Doomsday and what he looks like. Holy cow, that may be the best Doomsday I've ever seen. I cannot wait for this. This is going to be so good.
Yeah, very cool. Plus, there is going to be a character lurking in the shadows. It is the Time Trapper, a very classic Superman villain, but a character that has ties back to the Legion of Superheroes and even possibly Superboy Prime. So a character that sits in mystery within Superman's past and future. Sounds really great. So we've got our A cover here. And then we have, this is the DeMio variant. We've got a Carla Cohen variant with Lois. We have a Chris Samney cover with Birds. We have our Kelly Jones Trick or Treat variant. And we have our Daniel Sampere all-in foil variant that looks awesome.
And speaking of Lois Lane Superwoman, it's not on FOC. It's this weekend. It's a few more weeks away, but there is going to be a Superwoman special. It's a one-shot, and it's going to really get into how she got these superpowers. So I don't know if we'll see it in Absolute Power or in this, or if it's going to wait till that, but it will all be explained in due time at some point. And I love that this cover is Lois, because all of these other Daniel Sampere foil variants have been just the character Batman and Wonder Woman, but this one they went with Lois instead of Superman. I think that's great.
You get a good look at her costume there as well.
All right, so we've got Nightwing number 119, and this is the first Nightwing in the All-In era. And we'll mention again, see on the cover there, you see the classic Bullet logo, you see the All-In label underneath that, and then all of the A covers for these books are going to have this white background with just a nice big dynamic shot of the character. So if you want to jump onto any of these books, but you can't remember which ones, just go into your local comic shop starting next Wednesday and look for these types of covers. Depending on who the character is, all white, nice big shots, and then look for the All-In logo, and you'll see those. So, Nightwing number 119. This is the new creative team of Dan Waters and Dexter Soy, who did the cover right there. And I love Dexter Soy's artwork, so I can't wait to see this. Bloodhaven has erupted in violence because Nightwing cleared out all the crime that was there. So now there's a big power vacuum, and all the crime that's left is now vying for top spot. But is an outside force turning the gangs against each other, escalating the violence in Bloodhaven towards even more sinister ends. Well, in order to find out, Nightwing must do the unthinkable no matter the cost. I have no idea what that is, but we will find out when it comes out. So yeah, new era for Nightwing. I can't wait to check this out. This is our A cover. We have a Dan Panosian variant. There is a Gleb Melnikov variant. There is a Kelly Jones Trick or Treat variant. And then the Daniel Sampere foil variant.
And I sampled some pages of this. This definitely reminds me more of like the early 2000s, the like Chuck Dixon run on it. It's a little bit moodier. It's a little darker, rainier, Gotham feeling for Nightwing. So if you kind of missed that, a little bit more connected with how the Bat Family books look, it seems like that is going to be this.
Yeah, because Tom Taylor's running. Yeah, obviously he put Nightwing through his paces for sure, but it still did have kind of like a slightly more hopeful, bright aura to it. So yeah, it'd be cool to see this sort of go back to being a little bit darker.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Batman Detective Comics number 1090. So I mean, we'll be up to 1100 really soon. But this is, of course, the continuation of Detective Comics, but this time it is being taken over by Tom Taylor and Mikkel Janin from Ram V, who's just wrapped up his huge run on the series. And so this will be a great jumping on point if you are looking to get onto Detective Comics. And so I sampled some pages of this. I know what this solicitation is talking about, so I'm going to try not to give too much away. But something from Bruce Wayne's past has kind of been lying in wait and will rattle the very foundation of the Dark Knight when it appears. And I'm not sure. I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to say anything, but I don't know if it's a thing that's been done before. But in this new all-in era, I'm very interested to see how this will affect Batman in a way that is pretty personal to him.
Mhm.
So very, very cool. I love this cover. I think this is going to be awesome. So if you're looking to get into detective, especially because Ram V's was great, but it definitely was a giant epic.
Yeah.
And it was kind of hard to jump into it at any point other
Right.
than the beginning. This will be a great time to get into Detective Comics. So we've got our A cover right here. We have a Dan Panosian.
I like that
That's
one.
really
Yeah.
cool. We've got a Bruno Redondo variant. We've got a Tony Harris variant. And we have a Daniel Sampere all-in foil variant, but this time with Barbara.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
awesome. Yeah, I love that. I was just telling Andy, I love the idea of these floating screens. I love that concept. I wish we had that.
I feel like I would accidentally press way too many buttons.
Yeah, or my hand would go through it.
Yeah.
Oops. Next up is Harley Quinn, number 44, the first issue of Harley Quinn in the new all-in era. You can see the trade dress up there. So this is written by Elliot Callan and the art is by Mindy Lee. That's your new creative team on this book. Harley discovers, this actually sounds really interesting. Harley discovers her favorite dangerous Gotham neighborhood called Throat Cut Hill has been gentrified beyond recognition. So she sets out on a one-woman mission to make Gotham City safe for crime again. The solicitation said she breaks bad and is gonna sort of like I guess dirty up the neighborhood a little bit. So Harley Quinn has gone over the years that she's been in the comics. She's essentially part of the Bat family, right?
Yeah.
She's essentially a good guy. And nowadays, so I wonder how far they'll go with this. If this is going to be a new status quo, if they're maybe trying to revert her back to a sort of an anti-hero, or if this maybe just for this one issue, or I don't know. But it'll be cool. So there's our A cover by Elizabeth Torque. There's a David Nakayama variant. There is a Jorge Fornes cover. There is a Kelly Jones Trick or Treat variant, and then your Daniel Sampere all-in foil variant.
Yeah, this one's really interesting, and by the end of it, you'll kind of see what her plan is to do that. But it looks really fun. It's Harley as you know her, but I do like the little hint of villain back in it. Next up, we have The Flash number 14, and this is continuing Cy Spurrier's run, but offering a new jumping on point. But it does sound like it's dealing with a lot of stuff from the previous issues as Wally begins his evolution into a new form, which I'm not quite sure what that means. Almost like I think he's turning more lightning or something like that.
It's going Super Saiyan.
Yeah, and he's not ready to share that with the rest of the family. Just plus, it has to do with them journeying to the center of the earth. Cy Spurrier is taking Flash in some crazy places, and so maybe if you want to try it out, you can use this one as a jumping on point. We've got our A cover here. We have our Dyke Ruin variant. Really like that. We have an Ian Bertram variant, and our Daniel Sampere all-in variant.
Next up is Power Girl number 14, the first of her book in the All-In era. This is, I didn't get the creative team. Leah Williams and Adriana Mello. So I'm glad that was on the cover because I forgot to write that down. So this is the first appearance of a new hero named Ejecta. And she has taken Metropolis by storm, but Power Girl and Omen don't believe the hype. They think there's more to her than that. But the big question is, how is she able to stop crime before it starts? Which is interesting. We've seen that before, and usually it's like, oh, they're the ones that plan the crime. Yeah. So new era for Power Girl as well. New jumping on point if you've been looking to check out Power Girl. So this is our A cover. There is a Miguel. Yeah, there's a Miguel Mercado variant. There is a Simone DeMeo variant, and then the Daniel Sampere foil variant.
Next up, we've got Green Arrow. We said there's a lot of these all-in books we'll be getting through the next few weeks, but we've got all-in Green Arrow number 17. And this is going to be an oversized issue. And this issue is going to be kind of a handoff between Joshua Williamson and the new writer Chris Condon. We joined by the new artist Montos on it. And in this, Ollie's dealing with the aftermath of absolute power and his role in it. And will his friends and family forgive him for that? And we're going to kind of see what we're going to be going into with the new run as well. So this is going to be an oversized issue that ends one run and begins another.
This is the one I'm most interested in, or one of them, because Green Arrow number 16 came out this week, and he's been working with Amanda Waller, and it's like, oh my gosh, why is he doing that? He must have another plan. And just when it seems like in that issue, just when it seems like there he is, that's why he was doing what he was doing. He still goes against the hero. They think that he's like, oh yeah, you're undercover. Nope, he still does something bad. So I don't know what he's playing at. Hopefully it'll see it in here.
Yeah, so sounds great. We've got our A cover right here. We have a Sean Isaacs variant, which is great that he gets to do a cover, wrapping up this story. And I mean, Roy's snapping all his bow. We've got a Cliff Chiang variant, which is great. I love all of his Green Arrow stuff. And we have our Daniel Sampere all in foil variant. Next up, we have other number ones. Yeah, there's even more books this week. It's not all DC. Starting with Sectaurs. I cannot wait for this. Hopefully people out there know about Sectaurs. It was a action figure line that came with mini comics. But this is going to be a new series from the Nacelleverse. And this is written by Dennis Culver, and the art is by Ramon Bax. And basically this solicitation and everything just talks about kind of the setup for Sectaurs. So the planet Symbion, they've been doing genetic experiments that have failed, and evolution has taken a strange turn as the insects now can grow to monstrous sizes, and the inhabitants of the planet are kind of fused or gain insect-like looks and abilities. And yeah, they've got this big war going on between them and some others, and it's just going to be really fun. I think this is 3 issues like all of these have been. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I think Sectaurs are super cool.
Some really cool toys too.
Really cool toys. It was like them and their mounts, and they have like this symbiotic relationship with them and everything. So very, very cool. We've got our A cover right here. We have a Polina variant and a Portella variant.
This up is FML number 1. You might have to ask the youngins what that stands for. But this is written by Kelly Sue DeConnick, and the art is by David Lopez. This sounds really cool. It's described as an apocalyptic odyssey about a group of metal kids, not metal kids like robots, but like heavy metal kids, who face a medley of bizarre foes and encounters in Portland, Oregon. I believe that's where Kelly Sue lives, during a worldwide pandemic. And there is after a ritual during a party, in Portland's Forest Park, there's a kid named Riley. He's kind of like the main character of the story. He wakes up one day to discover that the creatures, witchcraft, and metal world he's obsessed with may be a bit closer to home than he preferred. So it sounds like maybe possibly like a merging of like a fantasy world into ours, which sounds really fun. Kind of gives me a little bit of a Goonies vibe, maybe like Monster Squad vibe. I just love, as my son calls it, kids on bike stories, which I think are great, especially like 80s stuff. Sounds really fun. So this is our A cover. There is a Bueno variant, there is a La Fuente variant, and a Rios FOC variant.
Next up, we got Venom War Fantastic Four. So what do the Fantastic Four have anything to do with Venom? Well, and this because Doom and Kaine want to get involved in the Venom War, and of course that is going to raise eyes with the Fantastic Four, and we're going to have to deal with it. This is going to be written by Adam Warren, and the art is by Joey Vasquez. So I think it just sounds really cool, and you got those 2 classic Fantastic Four villains entering the fray.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I just caught up on the current run of Venom just a couple days ago, and Kaine and Doom played a little bit of a part in it, so it's not completely out of the blue for them to show up too.
Yeah, very, very cool. So we've got our A cover right here, and we also have a Walt Simonson variant.
Nice. Next is Something is Killing the Children number 0, and I think this sounds awesome because if you guys remember all the way back to Something is Killing the Children number 1, like 4 years ago, right when we first were introduced to Erica Slaughter, she was pulling a little girl in a wagon, like in the middle of the woods. And I always wondered, what the heck was that all about? who's the little girl? Where are they coming from? And they never really explain what that was. Well, they are here. This is that story of the mission, the hunt that she was on that leads right up to the very beginning, or at least when she first appeared in Something is Killing the Children #1. So I can't wait to see like what it was, because I have always wondered. I thought maybe they told it, because I'm a little bit behind on this series. I thought maybe it was told and I just missed it, but it's going to get told right here. So that's really cool. And this, so we got some cool covers. There's a Werther Deladera variant. There's a Jenny Frison variant. There's an Intermix variant. It looks like yeah.
Maybe you get one of those. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's all about. And then there is a FOC reveal variant. This doesn't have the artist on that one, but yeah, it looks really cool.
Maybe you'll reveal it.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the Powerpuff Girls Halloween special. This is just a one-shot, but it sounds really fun. This is by Amanda Dybert, and the art is by Kat Staggs. And when Townsville has a contest for best Halloween horror comic, Buttercup wants to win, and she, to get some inspiration, goes to an old haunted hotel, which just so happens to have a hedge maze, which is really interesting. And Blossom and Bubbles want to go trick-or-treating, but they need to convince Buttercup to come out and go with them. But the all work and no play makes a dull Powerpuff Girls. So it sounds like we're getting Powerpuff Girls meets The Shining, which is just a really fun idea. So we've got our A cover right here. We have a Forster variant. And we have a Ventura variant.
Next up is One for Sorrow #1. This is a new book from Distillery. Now, we actually talked about this back in August, but the FOC date got pushed back to now. This is written and drawn by Jamie McKelvey. It's his first creator-owned project in over a decade. It's set in the 1900s, where a monstrous figure stalks the city's criminal underworld at night, leaving a trail of bloody corpses in his wake. They call the killer the Magpie because of a black and white feather that he leaves at every crime scene. But it seems like his victims, or the killer's victims, it seems like it's completely random. Like maybe there's no connection between them at all, or there might be. There might be a pattern there that I'm assuming if there is one, we will learn it as the story goes along. So yeah, new book by Jamie McKelvey, which should be really cool. And yeah, so I don't know how many, probably 3 or 4 issues, I'd say.
Probably.
So this is our A cover by McKelvey. There's also another McKelvey cover right there, and then there is a Woo variant. Woo.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
Next up, we got notable 2s and 3s continuations of series that have already started or are about to start, in some cases with this week's. So let's get into them, starting with Chasm Curse of Kaine. I always want to say Chasm Curse of Carnage.
Yeah.
But it's Chasm Curse of Kaine #3. Just continuing this mini-series as they now reveal Druid, the most terrifying Eternal. Fractured Ben Reilly's brain even more, which just sounds lovely for him.
I didn't know they could go many more fractures.
Yeah, but I'm very interested to see how all of this turns out in this series. But we've got our A cover right here. And we have our Capuccio variant, which I love seeing that Ben Reilly suit. But that's Ben Reilly versus Ben Reilly on that cover.
I really see they just keep dropping hints like this. I really hope that this series results in a Ben Reilly redemption, because I would love to see that again, or maybe the '90s Spider-Man suit with the web fingers, and that would be awesome. Next up is Deadpool Team-Up #3 of 5. And if you read the last issue, the Hulk showed up at the very end, and now he is going to be part of this. But will he hinder or help Deadpool's quest to get the dragon egg, which he needs to get the Yakuza off his back, basically? So we'll have to see what part Hulk plays in this. That's our A cover. We have a Jeff Shaw variant, which looks really good. I like big and bulky Hulk.
Yeah.
And then there's another Rob Liefeld variant also.
Which some of his other classic characters, Major X, Lady Deadpool, and Cable.
And none of them are in it so far. They might be later, I'm not sure.
Maybe. Next up, we got Star Wars: The Battle of Jakku, Insurgency Rising, issue #3 of 4. And we're actually getting issue #1 of this next week. So I'll be reading it, and we'll be talking about it on the show on Monday. But I'm very excited, as this is where all of the Star Wars and Vader and everything have funneled, and we'll be getting these miniseries for a little while. And by issue 3, because we don't know a whole lot about what's going on in this one other than the time frame it takes place in, it says, who is the mysterious Reyna Oskar, and what does her influence over the Defiant Imperial mean for the New Republic? So I think the Defiant Imperial is the remnants of the Empire that are still holding out after the death of Palpatine and Vader and the destruction of the second Death Star. They're kind of on the run and they're just playing their cards fast and loose. So very excited to see what happens here. We've got our A cover for that, and we have a McCone variant.
This is Predator versus Black Panther number 3 of 4. The Predators are almost within reach of Vibranium, but they're also, we saw this in the first issue. The Predators are divided into two factions basically, and will T'Challa and Shuri be able to use that to their advantage? Maybe they can play them against each other in order to save Wakanda. So we'll have to check that out. So this is our A cover right here. We have a Andre Bresson variant, and that's it.
And next up, we've got Universal Monsters Frankenstein, issue number 3. And I've been loving the series. Michael Walsh is doing an awesome job. This one is called The Heart of a Lover. And this has to do with Dr. Frankenstein's fiance and just the really messed up stuff that Dr. Frankenstein is kind of going through at this point. So it's cool how it's progressing through the story, but we're also getting some history on parts of the Frankenstein monster, and I've just really been enjoying it. So this is our A cover for that. And we also have our Todino Tedesco variant as well.
We've got Phases of the Moon Knight number 3. This is a 4-issue miniseries. Just like the other 2 issues, there's 2 different kind of one-and-done anthology stories featuring different Moon Knights throughout time. In this, the second issue came out this week. It was really, really good. So in this one, the first issue was by Justina Ireland and Crease Lee. It's about an all-new avatar of Khonshu that might eclipse every other one that came before. And if you look on the cover, he looks kind of big. Like, I don't know if he's like a big, like, hulking guy or not.
Furry.
Yeah, kind of. So that should be really cool. And then it's the Marvel debut of manga superstar Yuji Kaiku, who works on Hell's Paradise. He introduces a brand new Moon Knight with a violent past from a magical future. And I'm assuming that's the character there in the middle, this kind of a cute bunny girl, but also a fist of Khonshu. That to me sounds awesome. So I can't wait to see what this is like. These have been cool, just seeing different Moon Knights that we've never seen before. So this is going to be the first appearance of both of these characters, and it should be really cool. So we have this A cover. We have an Ivan Tao character design variant. There's a Yuji Kaku design variant of the cute bunny Moon Knight, and then there is another Yuji Kaku variant also with her. I don't know who the other girl is though. There's a bunch of girls on there.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are.
Maybe she's got multiple personalities.
Oh, maybe.
Next up, we've got Creepshow, Volume 3, number 2 of 5, and just continues this great series. Issue number 1 of Volume 3 came out this week, and don't miss out on this amazing series. In this one, we got the spookiest sleepover ever, and the true terrors of social media as 3 friends go violently viral. Which just, they're going to have weird twists.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to be funny and horrific. And
they're going to get sucked into their phones or something.
Yeah. So we've got our A cover here, and we have a Fornes variant.
Next up is Power Fantasy number 3. And in this one, it sounds like we might get the origin story of Santa Valentina. She's the character on the cover. She's the real strong one in this group of atomics. It says the girl who fell or skipped to Earth. So I don't know what that's all about. And it also mentions something about the Trinity test, but then it says, but that's not important. So if the solicitation says this Trinity test is not important, I'm willing to bet it's probably pretty important, at least to her origin or something like that. So the first 2 issues have been really cool. Very interesting, much more violent take on superpowered individuals in the world. So it'd be cool to check that one out. So there's our A cover by Casper Wingard, and then there is a Paulina Ganuccio variant.
Which is super creepy because there's too many.
There's too many hands there, yeah. Or no, wait a minute. No, she's wrapping her arm around. She's doing this. So she's wrapping her hand around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still looks like many arms. Next up, we got The Moon is Following Us, number 2. And I didn't get a chance to read number 1, but you read it and you really liked it.
I really liked it a lot.
I can't wait to check it out. But in this one, we've got Sam and Duncan, the parents, reflect on the first days of their adventure to save their daughter. So it sounds like maybe kind of a flashback issue to when all of this began, now that we kind of know a little bit more about what's going on here.
Because the first issue just dropped us right in the middle. So we got to figure out how we got there.
Yeah, so sounds really cool. We've got our A cover here, and we have a Daniel Warren Johnson variant.
Next up is the Tin Can Society, number 2. I believe number 1 came out last week, and it was really cool. And this is going to be a 9-issue series. And in this one, Kasia, who is, I don't think that's her on the cover, but Kasia's kind of like the main character who is researching who killed their friend Johnny, who is also known as the superhero Caliburn. So Kasia is going to question his former Johnny slash Caliburn's former sidekick Greg to try to find out who killed him, because there's this suspicion that somebody within the group did it, and they got to try to figure out who. But it says that nothing goes as planned. Old friends return, and betrayal lurks around every corner. So we'll have to see if their suspicions are correct. This is our A cover, and this says this is a 1 in 10.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, so forget that.
Forget that, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Next up, we got cool covers, starting with Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue number 60. This is actually going to be the end of Zeb Wells' run on Spider-Man before we get into the 8 deaths of Spider-Man. And this will have a prelude story in here by Joe Kelly for the next storyline as well. So wrapping up one and starting a new one. And this is our Adam Hughes variant. We have a Coelho Doom variant. We've got a Patrick Gleason variant. And a Stephen Platt variant.
Next up is Captain America number 14. We wanted to show you this really cool Dan Panosian Doom variant. And this actually sounds really cool because it's a team up between Captain America, Spider-Man, and Thor. When's the last time that they've been together, not as part of a big like event or something like that? They're going to set out on an adventure that will either draw them closer together or drive them all insane. Either way, it sounds really, really fun. And yeah, just wanted to show you the cool Doom variant.
Next up, we have NYX issue number 4, continuing this series. This one centers around Prodigy, as you must figure out what mutant culture means to those left behind by Krakoa. And this is our Inyakli Cuckoo's variant, which is really cool.
Next up is Ultimate X-Men number 8. And I love the solicitation of this one because it sounds like whoever wrote it reached inside my brain to do it, because it says, who are the children of the atom? What are mutants? Where do they come from? And how has the Makers Council been keeping them under control? I have all those same questions because there's so many questions, and we haven't gotten a whole lot of answers to anything yet in this book. So I'm very curious to see if we start getting some of those answers. It does say that all of these dark questions and more start to unravel as our heroes investigate a murder that the authorities keep covering up, and the Shadow King advances his sinister plots. So we did see, we know that we now know that he is the Shadow King, but there's still some weirdness to him.
And I thought last we left him, he was in a hospital somewhere or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So maybe we'll get some of those questions answered here. So this is our Jose Maria Casanova's connecting variant, and then we have a Peach Momoko variant.
Yeah, we've kind of a lot of your cast.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the full title, From the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives, number 4. This is the variant cover by Lee Bermejo, and this is the final issue of this miniseries. So very cool. I'll be interested to see what's our next From the DC Vault book.
I hope there are more.
Keep it up.
Yeah, because I love the branding From the DC Vault, but there's never been any before. Yeah. So what else? Yeah, what else is in there?
We didn't know there was a vault.
Yeah, right.
And we want to see what else is in it. Right. Next up, we got graphic novels and more, starting with
the Deadpool number 6 second printing. Now, this is the issue where his daughter Ellie, she kind of sort of became the new Deadpool. They didn't refer to her as Deadpool, but this is actually a page from inside the book. But this is the first issue where she puts on the costume, goes out in the field, and does some stuff because she wants to get revenge, because it's not a spoiler to say Deadpool, I guess, is dead. I mean, at least for right now. Maybe he'll come back later, but she is going to get revenge, and this is the second print.
Next up, we've got some great graphic novels from the new DC's Finest line, and it looks like they're doing a version called DC's Finest Events, that maybe they're going to be doing a lot of the classic event stories, because this is Events 0 Hour Part 1. I'm not sure how many parts it's going to be. 0 Hour wasn't that long.
The omnibus is pretty thick with a bunch of tie-ins.
I guess if it has all the tie-ins in it, they'll do that. But 0 Hour is great. Another one of the earlier multiverse type stories. And you can get the whole thing together for, what are the $34.99.
I think they're $39.99. Yeah.
$39.99.
And next we've got the next book in the DC Finest line. I don't think we've gotten any. None of these have come out yet, right?
No,
The
none
DC
of these have
Finest
come
book.
out yet.
But if these are very much similar to the Marvel Epic collections. DC's now doing their own version, and they're doing so many cool ones too. This is the Legion of Superheroes. Zap Goes the Legion. This is going to be $39.99 as well. And it features a lot of out-of-print stories ranging. They came out from November 1968 to July 1974, so you get some cool Bronze Age Legion in there. Stories like War of the Wraithmates, The Fatal Five Who Twisted Time, and The Impossible Target. There's a whole bunch of issues that it collects. I didn't write them all down because it kind of skips around here and there. But yeah, some cool Bronze Age Legion, which, there's no way to read this era of Legion unless you actually go find the actual issue.
Yeah.
So this will be a really cool one to get.
And that is it for Comics from the Future. It is a big week, and we got a big week coming next week. So just all aboard because there's a lot to cover. But thank you so much for watching. Remember to head over to infinityflux.net right now. You can place your pre-orders of everything we just talked about, plus more. Like I said, there's stuff I had to cut out of the show just to make sure it wasn't 9 hours long.
Right.
So head on over to infinityflux.net. Check out all of those other books that are there as well under your subscriptions tab, and you'll find amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Again, we've got our show coming up on Monday where we'll be going over some of the biggest books coming out next week. And there's some huge ones because it is the DC All-In Special #1. It is the last issue of Absolute Power. It's Star Wars Battle for Jakku Insurgency Rising #1. And so many other books that you're not going to want to miss out on. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, see ya.